2, 1. It helps sync up the audio and the visuals because the big snap, you can line it all up.
Action.
Have you done any Christmas shopping yet?
No. Welcome to the Christmas edition of Petty Talk. Dun, 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 dun.
'Tis the season.
Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa edition. There we go.
Yes, we're
got
very
all holidays in there.
Yeah, we're very inclusive.
We're very Christian, African, Jewish, whatever all the other holidays are.
Yes. Well, welcome to Petty Talk. My name is Simon Petty. I'm your host, and this is your other host, Alex Petty. Welcome.
It's good to be back, sir.
It is.
So you're asking about Christmas shopping?
Yes, I haven't done any.
I have kind of put that on the back burner this year. I already have one or two gifts for people close to me, but this year I'm not going all out. Some years I will be crafting things and, making things for like 20, 30 people. Other times, like this year, kind of just focusing on other things. But it is a madhouse out there. I like to go to a mall at least once during December to get the Christmas feel. See all the.
It's sad that you have to go to a mall to get the Christmas feel.
Well, that's part of it. That's like 3%, and the
Yeah.
other 3% is lights on the house. The other 3% is a tree, and the other 3% is But the mall is cool because you get to see all these different stores, and there's all these people, and there's the ice skaters, and the big Christmas tree, and the music, and
Yeah. Do you have something that you do every Christmas? Like for every Christmas, I always read as much as I can. What's that? The Christmas Carol.
the Christmas Carol by
Yeah.
Scrooge.
I don't know why. I just like it.
It's a good one. I used to tutor at a college in the writing lab, and these kids would come in with, well, I say kids, but these college students would come in with creative writing stories, and they would be like, I went to the mall. I had fun. I ran into Stacy. Stacy said, and so we'd be
Like
like,
how I write.
right. Well, we'd be like a paragraph in. I'd be like, you gotta take me on this journey, and you gotta use descriptive words, and you gotta describe senses. And so for an exercise, I would make them describe Scrooge because they knew who he was. And so, in 30 seconds, I'd make them tell me about Scrooge or write something, and they'd be like, oh, he was old, he was rich, he was, right? And then I would read them a paragraph from the actual Christmas Carol. And of course, it's hard to compare something you come up with in 30 seconds to, Charles Dickens, who was writing and rewriting and a great writer. But, oh, he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, that old Scrooge. A squeezing, rasping, clawing, covetous old sinner. And, of course, it goes on and on about... in one paragraph, you have a sense of how cold-blooded he is and how he would stride through the streets and the cold would follow him. And it just brought the story to life. And it's such a good story, so I'm glad you enjoy it. But I would use that as a kind of illustration to describe good writing to people. Because immediately you read that paragraph, just one paragraph on Scrooge, and you're just like, whoa. You can see him.
That's interesting.
It's a good one. It's a good story. And I think it was published originally 10 pages at a time or something in magazine articles. But the public loved it.
Oh, really? It wasn't a book?
No, I don't think it was a book. I think it was published in serialized form. But I think by the end of his life, he was going to readings, and people were tossing him up and down, singing "He's a Jolly Good Fellow." They loved it. But yeah, that's a good one, man. And the Muppet Christmas Carol is a good version of that.
Yeah, it's the only version.
We are today, for those of you who don't know, we're going back to the 90s.
A little bit.
Because not only are we having something later on that harkens back, but also, too, I guess, with the reference to the Muppets.
I do that, and then I also play an old video game called Heroes 3 of Might and Magic that me and my brothers used to play all the time.
That is wild. It's like this. For those of you that don't know, it's sort of like this adventure strategy game, but it's point and click, PC based, and you're this hero gathering resources, recruiting armies. Oh man.
But you know what I have been doing the last 10 years that I haven't done this year is play Christmas music for a church service, like for big production, Christmas, crazy.
Cantatas.
Yeah, man, that was just such a drag to do every year.
It's a lot of work, and people sometimes don't realize, if you're putting on an hour and a half show, dude, what all goes into that hour as individuals, but also cumulative efforts. Like, hey guys, we're gonna meet up for this rest. Whether it's at a church or
We used to start
ballet
rehearsals
or
in June.
oh my gosh, no.
June. So it's 115 degrees outside, and you're like,
Frosty,
the
snowman.
snow is upon us. It's the time of the Savior's birth, and you're just like sweating your butt off. It was just
Oh, man.
all of it was just, and some of these. I mean, it was like the biggest deal to these people that were in it. I mean, it was for one. One year they had to cancel it because we were, the music minister resigned and we were bringing someone else in, and it just wasn't able. And you would have thought that, like,
The Washington Monument had burned down.
with,
Countless school children trapped inside.
it was pretty emotional for some people, and what I couldn't believe was that people were doing this for fun when I could barely stand it being paid. And I'm not trying to be super cynical about it all, but just starting in June.
That's a beatdown.
When you're doing Christmas music before July 4th.
Right. What's fascinating is what just grabs people's eye and then what they assign value to. And it's different for grandma versus Joey, who's 14, but what people, or sometimes it's the same age or the same gender, the same whatever, but different things attract different people, and you have someone who's like so invested in this cantata, and like they feel passionate about it, and they just can't wait to get to that practice, and it makes them feel warm and fuzzy inside. And then you have maybe the instrumentalist over there who's playing the music, and they're just like, oh, I gotta get home and get some food.
I mean, we'd spend 5 months on something so that somebody could come to the church and enjoy 45 minutes of music.
That's a lot, man. It's a lot of practice.
Yeah.
Or a lot of time spent. One Christmas tradition I'm thinking of was when we were... How old must we have been? But I remember one year I sat up reading The Hobbit to you on Christmas Eve because we couldn't sleep.
I don't know. Speaking of another great writer, and I remember you telling me that he didn't tell you it was a beautiful day. He told you about how the sun hit the trees and there was reflections off of this, and the streams, cut through the landscape like this. And then you came to the conclusion of, oh, it's a beautiful day. And I've never forgotten that. Didn't help my writing much, but I never forgot that.
Don't tell your audience, show your audience. And that's also a big sin in movies, like poorly written movies. They're like, this is a really dangerous situation. Joey's been missing for 3 weeks and we have to find him. Like they basically tell the audience what's going on instead of showing them the story and letting the audience realize, oh my gosh, they're in danger. Oh man, if they don't find Joey. Because then it's not stilted by this awful dialogue. But we did that several years in a row. We would stay up. We would be so excited for Christmas Eve. When's the last time you were so excited about the next day that you like literally couldn't sleep? You're just like, oh my gosh, Christmas, Santa.
Christmas in particular, it's been a hot minute.
Right. I mean, anything in particular?
I was pretty excited when I went to Europe. I was pretty excited about that.
Rightly so. That's a cool trip.
That might have been the last time.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly. I mean, we must have been. I mean, obviously we weren't teenagers, but obviously we probably weren't 4 and 6. So somewhere in between there. But we just literally couldn't sleep, and we just had that book. And I just kept reading and reading and reading, and
Man,
The Hobbit,
I remember
the memories.
it being like 3 months out from Christmas, and you're just like, only 93 more days till Christmas. I mean, it's a big deal, when you're 10 or whatever.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people forget how tethered children are. They can't drive. So
Right.
You literally can't. I mean, when you want to get out of the house now, you drive somewhere. But children go places, like they go to school, they go field trips, they go places with their parents, whatever. But they want to experience things just like adults want to. They want to adventure, and a lot of times when you're 8, you can't do that on your own. So it's always through this filter of parents or whatever, or authority. But then when you open up an adventure book, or when you get a toy that makes you feel like a Power Ranger or whatever, or like for now, kids, I'm talking to my students in the piano studio, and the kids talking about the Oculus Rift thing, the virtual, like the headsets that you put on, And I told them they're still looking for that experience, like wanting something more than just a mundane, just like adults do. But I told them, I was like, I didn't know you were a VR trooper, a virtual reality trooper. You remember that show on TV? We are VR.
No.
Virtual reality. It was like a Power Rangers knockoff. No, it was. They'd like hold up their badges and they'd be like, we are VR. It was the lamest motto ever. They would go into okay, we'll have to look that up. Look up that commercial. VR troopers. Power Rangers knockoff.
So you don't seem like somebody who's into New Year's resolutions, are you? I'm just taking a stab at it. Or are you?
Not usually. Not usually. And I think
2020.
Right. But this year, actually, it's interesting you bring this up, because this year I'm more forced to, because now I have a company, the Ravenswood Academy.
Shout out.
Yeah. So shameless plug, because we don't want Alexander to be homeless. We're actually filming this from my parents' basement. We're live right now. They're somewhere up there. No, but
You make it sound like they're dead. They're looking over us.
Right. You're forced to come up with a plan, because if it's a small thing for an individual that's not business related, you can just be like, you know what, I want to learn this piano piece, or I want to go here, whatever. But once you start producing things, like all the decks of cards we're doing, and different other types of projects that are underway, you can't just wing it in one day,
right?
Or just decide, hey guys, we're gonna go in this different direction, because then, not everyone feels your artistic whims. So yeah, this year I'm gonna have to have just a little bit more structure. What about you?
I've never really done the whole New Year's resolution, mostly because I feel like most of my life is pretty squared away.
Ooh,
I know that's a big claim, but it's like I work out, I save money, I do my business stuff.
You're already putting in some action to the things that are important to you, for the most part.
The things
room for improvement, but
obviously the things that need to be committed to, I don't wait till the New Year's. I mean, that's that. But this year I did the 3 words, which was really, really awesome, and I highly recommend. So for anybody who doesn't know, the 3 words is you just
wait. We can't say these on the podcast.
I love you.
Oh, okay. So it's okay. So it's PG.
It is.
This wasn't like an anger-fueled mantra.
Oh no! It's not the 3 words you say when you get mad. No. So my 3 words were discipline. So just making sure I show up and do the things I need to do that I'm already kind of doing in my life. Then this next one was growth. So making sure that the areas in my life that I really care about, I'm, fitter, wealthier, smarter, whatever. And then the last one was experience. So every month I tried something new that I hadn't ever done before.
Wow. Discipline, growth, experience.
Yeah. So now I have to think of a new three words. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I can see how for some people this would be perfect. And then, like you've had those personality types in your life where they want this extreme high degree of specificity. Like, oh, no. By January 22nd, I'm going to have done, 200 push-ups because I'll be doing 10 push-ups every day. Like,
Right.
it's...
You can definitely plan yourself out of doing something.
But that's kind of interesting because if it's a general word, it gives you something... it gives you some creative flexibility. So you have experience, which is just one new experience a month. Maybe more if you're on a roll or whatever, but it's
but at least one.
it could be something really huge and involving a lot of time. Like, okay, this is going to be like a weekend project trip / whatever. Or if you're more pressed for time and it's been justified, it can be still experiencing a new thing, like going to your friend's Pilates class or whatever, but not as big a deal or as time consuming.
Yeah, even something less than that. I had I went to a new restaurant that I always drove by and I never went to for some reason. I just never did. So that's just one of my things. 3 words.
Those are all good things. Good on you.
Yeah.
And it seems like if you're wanting the inside scoop, I have been there in his life, and it seems like he is incorporating those words fine. So got to come up with another 3.
Yeah.
Well, if you have any suggestions, folks, type in the comments below.
Keep it clean.
For the children, keep it clean.
Think of the children.
But yeah, actually, I would be very interested to see what someone else would offer who's thinking outside the box or is not from our same background. It's like,
yeah. What would your
here's
3 words be?
3 words for the new year.
Yeah.
Concepts.
Do you think about all the gifts you didn't like getting? Like, there was a young lady that had a slight fondness for me, we'll just say. Back when I was maybe 11, she went to my church. I don't even know how we got on the subject, but it was about puzzles. And she was like, hey, you like puzzles? And I was like, yeah. I think I just didn't.
You're just being agreeable.
The idea of puzzles seems fine. But then every Christmas, she would give me, or maybe it was every birthday, she would give me like a 1,000-piece puzzle.
Oh, brutal.
To a dyslexic person who's just
brutal.
Like, what? And then mom would make me like try to figure it out. I have like a 5-day limit of where I had to like sit there and like try and figure it out. And then I had to give her like a thank you card, which just made her, which was good for me.
But it reinforced the idea of like, wow, he really liked my puzzle.
Was probably the only
he sent me a thank you
yeah,
card.
That's right. That was probably the only one she got. So for maybe 3 years, I got these 1,000-piece puzzles.
Which, shout out to mom. That was how she taught us to write, was a lot of times writing letters and thank you letters and etc. Very nice, fun, practical way to learn.
I wouldn't say it's fun.
For some people.
It was a struggle.
It's interesting that you mentioned gifts. Shall I segue into our gift segue?
Before you segue, I have one more. There was this other young lady.
Oh, gifts that you don't like?
Yes. Who, I don't know if she ever liked me or not like that, but she gave me skinny jeans. And I mean, those were tight. And I didn't like them at all. But mom knew that she was going to be at this Bible study that we went to every week. And so for the next 2 or 3 weeks, she made me wear those skinny jeans.
Thankfully, I've blocked that out of my memory. I don't remember those.
It was bad.
There was a time when he was skinny. Well, I'm serious. Now you're like,
you just
you
made
a
it
live,
sound
bro?
like... Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like he's 400 pounds. It's like someone listening in Europe will be like, oh, you must be obese.
I met a gun.
That's right.
She just came out of nowhere and was like, yeah, there was a time when you were skinny. I think I know when your word should be exercise.
No, he is laden with rippling muscle.
Beefy.
That's right. But, yeah, I must have blocked that out of my memory.
Oh,
I mean, better
man.
that than Jinkos.
Yeah, that's true. But man, it was hard to sit down in those. But that was, you had those jeans with the American Eagle polo that you would wear. Those were in.
I remember early 2000s. But yeah, I don't like tight, restrictive clothing. I like to be able to move or shift.
Do you have to do it like that?
Just like that.
So you can do the tango wherever you're at. Just in case some song breaks out, you're in the middle of a musical.
You have to be ready.
All right, let's segue now.
All right.
Less smooth of a segue than originally, but
yes. What we plan on doing is quite simple. We were going through some old stuff, and we found some of our toys back in the olden days, which we no doubt got as Christmas gifts. And really all Simon and I are going to do is go back to 1996, journey with us.
I had a full head of hair, a little twinkle in my eye.
Young Alex, there's so many things I would like to go back and tell you. But
what would you tell him? What's one thing? If you came out of the clouds and you're like, quiet, I don't have much time, and you had to do let's say you had 30 seconds. What would you tell young Alex if you had 30 seconds and then you disappear and he's like wondering if he just saw something or if he was
right? I don't know.
If you're the ghost from Christmas past,
you can go with.
future.
I'm getting all teary eyed and choked up. I'm having like a reaction here or something. I'm probably have to grab some tissues. But
are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't know what it is.
Are you emotional?
No, I'm not emotional.
I thought you were just thinking about little
going back to
Alex
myself.
there.
No, I don't know. You could do the standard bit of like, buy Apple stock, young Alex. But
knowing me, if I had said that to me, I would have put as much money as I can into Fiji apples.
No, Macintosh is an apple. Oh, I probably. I'd probably tell myself to, there was a long time during the 20s where I felt like I was extremely creative and I could, to compose something on the piano or trace a thought through these books or whatever. But I felt really guilty about it because I felt like it wasn't very. I needed to be doing more. I needed to be accomplishing more because you can always find an example of someone else just knocking stuff out of the park in whatever category you're in. So I'd probably find a way to tell myself not to stress out as much and to find some way to learn more about myself as far as coping strategies for stress. And because, it's very easy to look back and be like, well, don't worry, everything's going to work out,
Yeah, because everyone tells you that.
Well, yeah,
it doesn't make a difference.
But you don't know when you're that age. You don't know if you're going to be stuck at working at Domino's forever or whatever. So probably just some sort of reassurance like that, because a lot of the things I did, it was a lot of time well spent and a lot of accomplishments well spent, I think. But it was all very stressful. It was like, is this going to pay off? Should I be, because I've got so many fingers in different pies or different pots or whatever the expression is. You want to make sure what you're doing is going to pay off, or how is this going to pay off? Is this worth investing? Should I chase this over here or pursue this area? So something along those lines, I think.
Interesting. I think I would say watch out for redheads and Asians, and then maybe just women in parking lots in general. I think that would have been good. I don't know. 30 seconds isn't a lot. It's not a lot. And young me probably wouldn't even have recognized that was future me. It was like Charles Xavier came to me in a vision.
Right. You could just prank yourself or just tell yourself some sort of meme. Like, remember Harambe, Harambe, Harambe.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'd be like, the old man who warned me about Harambe, he was right. So, I don't know.
Huh.
All right, well, let's open up some Christmas presents.
Yeah, let's segue again.
This is what I'm giving you this year.
I didn't know we were doing this. What are we doing?
Opening up some Christmas presents from time past. Let's take a look.
This is really good content for y'all who are just listening. All right.
Wow, I got a 1996 limited edition Boba Fett helmet.
Does that fit?
Ugh. Oh. This was the Christmas that Simon and I got Star Wars helmets. On the back it says 1996.
And this was before Boba Fett was cool.
This was,
Or, you know,
so 90,
Mandalorians.
I mean, this was before the prequels. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Phantom Menace was 99.
Back when 1, 2, and 3 were 1, 2, and 3 instead of 4, 5, and 6.
Yes. This was the age, and this is now big because there's that new show, The Mandalorian.
Maybe we could sell it. Or keep it.
I'd actually like to find a way to give this to a kid because I don't really need it anymore, obviously. We just found it cleaning out, and I've got some good fond childhood memories of dueling Simon lightsaber style with this on. But really, if someone else can enjoy it, especially now that the Mandalorian's popular.
Man, dueling. We used to beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, we get sticks. But for that year, this was a pretty memorable Christmas because we got helmets and we got lightsabers. So I'm pretty sure this was like a $50 helmet. Maybe more.
What?
But
I wouldn't spend that on me.
it was $50 in 1996.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was $40 or $50 because the thing was we would go to Target or I guess it must have been someplace like Target. And we would see these, and I think we specifically asked for these. Did we not? That Christmas?
I don't know.
I think so. Well, they had that, and then they also had the lightsabers that telescoped out, the plastic lightsabers with the sound and with the light. And that was a big deal. I think that was kind of like, those were the first prototypes of those things, because I don't remember seeing a lot of those things around. So for that year, we both got a red lightsaber, a Darth Vader lightsaber, and Simon got a Stormtrooper helmet.
That probably does not fit my head.
No. And then I got this Boba Fett helmet.
Isn't that crazy that those lightsabers are probably floating in the ocean right now?
Who knows where they are? Sorry, turtles.
Some squid is choking on them.
All right, well, here. Why don't you open something here, and let's see if...
Hand me something over. This is
okay.
premium content
I
right here.
I found something that was his.
This was mine?
Yes.
I thought this was yours.
Nope. Mine was the...
What is this?
Okay, who remembers? I remember this. Look, this was mine.
Isn't this a TV show?
What we're...
Or
yes.
a cartoon?
Yes. Okay, so what Simon and I... For those who are listening audibly, these are small plastic action figures. And you have to remember, kids, this was the age of plastic. This was the age of plastic. You just started to have these portable gaming systems like Game Boys and Game Gears. But guess what every kid was carrying around, like at the laundromat or wherever?
Because there's no cell phones or tablets.
There was no cell phones. There was no tablets to play on. That's what I see kids playing on when they're waiting at the music studio.
How old
you
did
had
we
an action
sound,
figure. Huh? Okay, well, look. Does it have a year on them? Oh, I found a year on mine.
1993.
That's probably why you don't remember.
Right on his butt.
You were
from
probably
China.
literally 3 or 4 years old. 1993. Who remembers Bot Masters? That's what this show is called. Bot Masters. It was like this teenager who invented all these robot friends, and of course he had to battle like an evil robot doctor. And those were the evil robot. Those were like the stormtroopers that always got like shot to pieces. Those were the cannon fodder. Pretty cool toy, don't you think?
Yeah.
Because you got a claw, you got the movable claw.
And he's got some kind of grinding thing in the middle of
Yeah,
him.
that's like their little engine. And like that was the vulnerable part that you would shoot or hack or whatever.
Memory is such a weird thing because I remember playing with this grinder part gear in the front, and I remember the claw, but I don't remember the rest of the figure.
Interesting.
But I remember the one you have. Because he was a soccer guy, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
this guy had like all sorts of sport accessories. So there were different types of them that the kid built, and one of them was a ninja, like on roller skates or something with like 4 arms that have swords. So when kids now are talking about the ninja in Fortnite, I'm like, man, that it's like that little toy ninja has like always existed
Right.
in GI Joe, in Bot Masters, and whatever. But
Man. That's crazy.
it's so weird holding these again. Because I didn't look through these. I just saw this box of stuff. And I was like, oh, well, we'll take a look at this sometime together. But I haven't gone through this myself. But what's really weird is holding Legos. Because we spent hours and hours with Legos. We loved Legos to death. But I remember manipulating the certain, like, oh, here's a block with 2 studs. Here's one with 3 or 4.
Alex was like a master builder of Legos. He would come up with such creative, interesting sets. And then I was known as the junkyard collector.
We call Simon the scrap heap collector, like the junkyard dealer, because he would just like hoard parts. He would just like scrape parts together, and he would
Because we used to build civilizations, and then we'd trade with each other, and we had all these rules and stuff like that. And so I was like,
we would like build forts
between you, me, and our oldest brother Bill. We'd all just like have these different civilizations, and we would. But when you talk about some creativity, just because there's no tablets, I mean, not to say kids are creative in their own ways. Like I have students that are like
right. They'll
10
always be
who are starting to code, and they're starting
Yeah.
to make their own video games. Like, that's pretty impressive. But
we love those Legos to death.
We did.
And that was before they had Star Wars Legos. So to make a lightsaber, you get like a torch, and you'd make your Lego guy hold it, and then you'd stack like a certain color lights, like all green lights. You'd have to have like 10 of those yellow single light stud things and stack them on a row like that was your lightsaber, quote unquote.
Right. We had some stupid ones. We had like not stupid, but just like so basic compared to what they have now. It's like cowboys, just generic cowboys,
Right.
With a fort
Knights.
and just knights, and it
now
wasn't
they're
associated with a particular movie
Or
or,
like a
franchise
franchise,
or
yeah.
anything like that. That's interesting.
I can still hear. We had this big table our dad built with raised edges, and it had all Legos in there, and I can still hear the raking of the Legos as you like moved your hand through the Legos to find certain parts.
Yeah, they're
And then
interesting.
if someone found the one rare part
Man.
before, you'd have to like trade all your stuff. So we developed this strategy to where like if you see, he's already laughing. He already knows. He already knows. I would like find a rare part and be like, ooh, I bet this is what Simon wants to complete his collection, because he already has 2 of them, but this is the 3rd one. And Simon would see it and be like, oh, no, you can have it. I'd be like, oh, well, and then I toss it back on the table, and then he'd
Make
like,
a mad
he would
dive.
like dive basically and scramble to pick up that part. Oh, man. Merry Christmas. I hope you all get what you want.
Which is peace, love, joy.
And join us.
All right. It's time for one of your favorite segments. Newsflash.
Oh. See, we know now to be quiet with music. We're pros.
And he knows to be ready with his laptop.
All right. In recent news,
You can just put that down.
are you sure? I don't trust this table.
It does seem to be sagging over time.
Vegan gamers level up with all-day Christmas feast in a can. There are 11 layers from breakfast to dessert. Vegan gamers, the Christmas meal in a can of your wildest dreams is here. A unique holiday feast aimed at gamers that don't want to leave their gaming chair on Christmas Day is now offering vegetarian and vegan options. UK technology retailer Game created the Game Christmas Tinner, a 3-course meal in a tin that boasts to serve up an all-day feast. The prepared cylindrical meal includes everything from breakfast to dessert, and now Serious gamers who want to go meat, dairy, and poultry free for the festive meal can opt for the vegan can, which has even more alternative layers.
Do you have a picture?
I do. Well, on screen. Layer 1. This is all in one can, remember.
This isn't a can.
Layer 1. Scrambled tofu and tempeh bacon, i.e. not bacon. Layer 2. Vegan cheese, i.e. not cheese, olives, and grapes. Layer 3. Vegan mushroom Wellington. 4. Vegan gravy. 5. Vegan bread sauce. 6. Vegan pigs and aubergine blankets, which, i.e. not pigs. 7. Brussels sprouts and vegan stuffing or broccoli and vegan stuffing. 8. Roasted butternut squash, parsnips, and carrots. Layer 9. Spiced red
Sounds
cabbage.
like a lot of food.
Layer
in a can.
10. Vegan custard. Layer 11. Vegan chocolate cake. So there's like a thin layer of chocolate at the very bottom when you get there, but it's mixed in with like 2 or 3 layers back within like the spiced
Gravy.
red cabbage.
Ugh.
This picture is something else to behold. Again, I'll put this up, but if you're not watching today, you can always open up a new tab and Google Christmas tinner. It's in a tin. I believe it's a UK thing. Now, Simon, I remember your horrible or horrific experience with vegan holiday dinners, so I thought you'd appreciate this, but they have a non-vegan option, so you can get it with real meat
good.
and cranberries, and they've got maybe some praline mixed in there.
I never
for dessert.
understood the whole trying to make something that you
Would normally eat on a stove top.
well, I don't get the whole we're gonna make this bacon that's not bacon.
Because people miss bacon, and other people see a way to make money off people who miss bacon.
Well, I guess that clears it up for me.
There you go. Would you try one? Comment below if you want us to try one. I would try one.
I do it for the show.
Guess what's happening the next episode? Oh, Tannenbaum, oh, Tannenbaum.
That
It's a sight to behold. There's just each layer looks to be about, maybe an eighth of an inch, maybe
I don't know, man.
maybe a fourth of an inch thick. And there's just all this, there's this green,
I
there's
just don't
red,
understand how there's a
color.
3-course meal fit into a can.
No, it's way more than 3 courses. You've got like your side of Brussels sprouts, your dessert at the end, your meat.
Entrees
Dude.
and everything.
Next episode,
Where do you get this? Just in case our listeners are interested.
we'll do
Can they
it.
be a sponsor?
They haven't reached out. They have not reached out at this time. But maybe we should do it for charity.
Yeah, let's do it for her.
For kids.
Oh, yeah.
Like people donate. I would do it.
I would do it.
Oh man.
I'm going to regret that.
How would you? But here's the thing, because they're marketing this as.
Do you heat it up?
That's
It's
what
in
I'm
a
wondering.
can,
It's
right?
like, but if you heat it up, I feel like it would all mix together. But if you're just sitting there and eating it lukewarm from the can, that's like survival mode. How hardcore of a gamer do you have to be where you're like, Mom, I can't come to Christmas dinner.
Dude,
I've got to eat from the can.
This looks like it's in a bunker. Like, this is
Well,
what
that's
you
the
get
thing.
for
I'm like,
zombies.
this makes sense if it's World War One and you're in the trenches,
This is a
Hey,
little
Mike,
this is a
what you
little-
got there?
Yeah, there's a little holiday chocolate at the bottom.
Yeah, it's like not the same as being at home, but it's a start. It's a start.
If you get down even below the chocolate, there's like cigarettes you can smoke.
Right? A little bit of morphine mixed in to keep you going. Better that than a sign of mustard gas, eh? Oh man.
Wow. They sell this in the U.S.?
I don't know. We might have to special order.
Oh,
But
here's
it's UK.
Oh, that one doesn't look as bad. There's different ones?
Yeah. So this
yeah.
the one you're looking at. I'll put this on screen too. This is this is a not vegan, but it's a vegetarian. But there's all sorts of stuff going on there.
man,
Top
those
layer,
eggs look
scrambled
questionable,
eggs,
though.
scrambled eggs in a can.
See, this one, this is like nut roast,
Right.
but eggs in
It's
a
just that
can
there's-
looks really weird to me.
Okay, so listen to all this: scrambled egg and bacon, mince pies, turkey and potatoes, gravy, bread sauce, cranberry sauce, Brussels sprouts with stuffing, roast carrots, Christmas pudding at the bottom.
Ugh.
There's just so much going on. Like, I understand if it was like 3 layers. You know what I mean? Like, oh, top layer, potatoes, middle layer, meat, bottom layer, some pudding. But it's the complete Christmas dinner, folks. See, for all the Marthas out there, like, hurrying to...
There's 9 different things in this can.
For the people, like, scrambling to cook huge, elaborate meals for their... I mean, you know how you
could have
open
just
the...
gotten one of these for
Exactly.
everybody.
You know how you open the can and the cranberry sauce just slides out and goes... Woo. You can now do that with the whole meal. You could be like, well, thanks for traveling all the way out here, Uncle Mike.
This is science.
This is the
But
future.
this does look like astronaut
We're
stuff.
starting. Oh, that's another thing. If you're on the space station, I'm sure it'd be fine. But we're starting 2020 with a bang, basically.
Man, that is questionable.
I'm surprised that they would market vegan
Vegan
and gamers. Yes. So, cause see, I'm not the only one. So again, I mean, I guess there's
2
demographics,
niches is
but
weird.
I just didn't know that those demographics overlapped.
All right, well, we'll try it.
All right.
Next episode. It's not what I envisioned when I wanted to start a podcast, but
Do
yeah,
it for the ratings.
that's right.
People aren't going to sit here and listen to serious. They need to be entertained. The circus and bread.
Showbiz.
All right. In recent news, walnut-shaped growth on your Christmas tree may not actually be a pine cone. Do you want to take a guess?
Walnut shaped. I'm gonna say it's. Wait, like
I'll
hanging
give you a hint.
off?
It's not a walnut. Walnut-shaped
I
growth
wanna
on your
say
Christmas tree
it's
may
some
not actually
kind
be a pine
of like
cone.
worm or some kind of egg.
Ding, 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 ding. The Erie County, Ohio Facebook page issued a PSA over potential insects. What looks like a little small pine cone on your Christmas tree may actually be something that you don't want in your house. The state of Ohio put out an interesting warning for the holiday season about potential insects that could be waiting to hatch inside your home.
Ugh.
PSA, if you happen to see a walnut-sized shaped egg mass in your Christmas tree, these could in fact be 100 to 200 praying mantis eggs.
Whoa.
And for those who don't believe it, a Virginia veterinarian experienced a nightmare last Christmas when dozens of praying mantises roamed her home. More than 100 praying mantises hatched from an egg case hidden under the branches of the Christmas tree for resident Molly Cruz brought for the holiday for a Christmas tree that she bought for the holiday season. The bugs moved freely through the house, crawling on the walls, crawling on the ceilings,
They are weird looking bugs, though.
and they gravitated toward the light. This year, Cruz planned on buying a fake one.
Well, you know, they used to have praying mantis, and they would tie them to their. They would get strings, and they would tie them to their bed, and that way they would eat any of the bugs that came, like mosquitoes.
You're gonna say, catch the bad dreams. Dream catcher
They catch-
2.0.
they catch the evil spirits. No, they would, you know, back when you didn't have mosquito spray or whatever, they would just eat the mosquitoes. But how would you like to have 3 or 4 of those things tied around?
I'd feel like an Egyptian god or something, like my praying mantis guardians guard my temple at night. You have to use your
I
imagination.
mean, maybe if they're like 4 feet tall.
Right. There's the rub. But yeah, that'd be a bummer if you were planning a Christmas party and you come home and there's like 100 bugs roaming around, like everywhere.
Yeah.
The ceiling, the walls. You're like, how could these have gotten in here?
You're bringing nature inside. That's why. Huh? That's weird.
I mean, if
I'm
it's
all
gonna
about the
be-
real Christmas tree, though.
Yes, well, I know because you still have the 2 from last year.
I got rid of them.
What?
got too much shame.
Why didn't you tell me about this big step of yours?
It just seemed right in the moment.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah, I love the smell of Christmas tree, and but some people I know are allergic, so you know.
If you're allergic to a tree, I mean, isn't that just a sign?
That what? You weren't
That-
fit enough to survive in the wild?
Maybe your people, you know.
I don't know, but I had this conversation with Sarah years back when the whole gluten thing was coming more mainstream, and I was like, okay, the Egyptian pyramids were built off of grain. How come everyone's allergic to bread all of a sudden and wheat? And you know, it might not be the same strain of grain anymore because it's been crossbred and grown certain ways and everything. So it's not even sometimes the same plant. So it could be an entirely different thing, right? I was reading a herbal from 500 years ago, but it was in Old English, so I could read it. And the guy talks about how banana isn't a good source of nutrition. And I was like, what? A banana isn't a good source of nutrition? And he's describing this little thing that's filled with all these huge pits that are like the size of cherry pits, but it's a banana. But basically the modern banana that we have now has been so kind of designed and crossbred for people. It's bigger, there's no seeds, there's more meat on it. So 500 years ago it wasn't the same thing.
Wow.
So the grain people were eating, even like during the French Revolution, might not be the same grain as you. And then also, say it is the same thing, the exact same thing, but now we are eating different kinds of foods to interact with that grain. Maybe we're eating a higher level of fat or a higher level of sugar or something to interact with that ingredient differently. It sounds way much more interesting and smart when Sarah explains it because she has a master's in nutrition and she can like talk about the chemicals but break it down in ways that you understand what's going on. So we might have to have a guest appearance, one of the other petties.
Honorary petty, because she got married in. Wow. You got one more, or is that it?
I have a few more.
Oh, okay.
We can go.
Let's go.
Santas subdue stabbing suspect on train after New York City's SantaCon.
The what? What'd you say?
Why do you ask?
What?
Oh. You elves be good while I'm going to SantaCon.
Santa. There's just too many people on Earth, man.
Are we getting conned? Are there too many cons?
Oh my gosh. There's just too many people. We can communicate all with each other, and then this is because we're not afraid of tiger attacks or another civilization conquering us. This is what we get. The pros and cons of a civilized society.
I, for one, welcome our Santa overlords. Santa's descended upon New York City. That's right, Santa's plural. Santa's descended upon New York City on Saturday and brought more than Christmas cheer. Several men partaking in SantaCon, an annual tradition in which revelers bar hop in festive costumes, subdued a stabbing suspect aboard a Long Island Railroad train, officials said. 2 men were fighting on the train around 6 p.m. when one of them, a man who was allegedly drunk, shouting homophobic comments and wielding a knife, he's definitely on the naughty list. Don't do this, children. Stabbed a 22-year-old in the leg, according to the New York Daily. But fear not, all is well. That's when a group of Santas jumped to the rescue and restrained the man.
Man, you better watch out.
He's coming to town.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
They went blitzing on his
Blitzing.
persons.
Oh, my gosh. You've been naughty. Can you imagine? You're literally... Okay, so here's the scene. You're on your way back home from the subway. You know, your job isn't exactly what you'd want. You're in your overcoat. You got your suitcase. This is New York. The city's been tough to you. I mean, yeah, it's giving you a living, but it's also been hard.
Yeah.
You're going home to drink a little, maybe argue with
Success,
the wife.
but the city takes
It
what
comes at a
it's
cost.
theirs, yeah.
You get into a shouting match with a man who's clearly, upset, maybe
At
a
the
little
gaze.
deranged.
Apparently.
He jumps you and stabs you in the leg. And as you fall back, you're like, this is it. This is how it all ends. It's over. But then,
The Red Ninjas.
out of the corner of your eye, and you can hear them chanting as they walk in. Oh, 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 oh.
Old Saint Nick.
It's the little Saint Nick.
Wow.
And what a story to tell the grandkids.
I bet they all had their, toy sacks, and they would like pull out different, you know, stuff to help them.
And who? I mean, they're not like practicing to be Santas in a mall. They're in Santa suits and they're bar hopping. So it's like I kind of get the.
Sure, that's silly. But but in a good way, what I thought was going to happen was there's like some Santa convention where they all, I was kind of hoping.
Like where they were practicing their trade.
Well, but I was kind of hoping also that was how Santa was chosen every year. There's some kind of fight to the death, You
must face the Icicle Council.
I wanted it to be like.
The elves are like the guardians. They work in the workshop underneath, but there's like a council of high elves, and they choose trial by combat.
Yeah, I wanted it to be like the Hunger Games Christmas edition.
It's like a movie. Sarah and I...
Sounds like a better movie than most of the Christmas movies I've seen.
So Sarah and I were just talking about this. There are only 2 to 3 types of Christmas trailers.
Okay.
And you recognize them each time. So, for example, number 1, the comedy Christmas movie.
Which is probably 80%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Simon...
all of them are garbage.
Exactly. Here's what it sounds like on the radio. Simon Petty was a jazz pianist. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Until one day, hey, what's this? With a little elfin magic. Oh, he became an elf. Oh, brother. And he's going to find out. I can't help Santa. What it takes to jingle all the way.
And here's what it is every time. Love and believing in yourself.
Right.
You mean that's what Christmas was about this whole time?
I can't play jazz with these little hands. You just need to believe. Starring Simon Petty as the Jazz Elf. Rated PG for some scenes of jazz and gratuitous dancing.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
I'd actually watch that.
I know, like where you get turned into an elf and you have to work at the North Pole, but you're introduced
Building
to the
pianos
jazz.
for kids.
You do it your own way, like you're kind of butting heads with the old guard.
Can't we just improvise? I know we have to build all these toys the way they're supposed to be.
Right. And then at the end, though, but you turn into a real human. It's like basically the opposite of the elf story.
Because I fall in love.
It's the opposite of the elf story.
Right?
You fall in love. I've just
they
never
always
been
fit
with
that
a
in.
man so little before. It's a big step for me. Oh, man.
Pointy ears and all.
So,
All
yeah,
right.
that's the Christmas comedy.
Yeah.
And then there's like the Christmas slasher.
Oh, no,
This year.
This is what they do. This is what they do for every like music, for any of those things. They always take a happy song and then they play it really slow. Bum, 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 bum.
We both did it at the same time because we know. Silent night.
And every time that just drives me up the wall. I'm like, because there's tropes in music.
There's always
Lots
the
of
lady with the weirdly shaped vowels. Like, it's not stars, it's stars. So there's like the lady in the distance singing, like for the Dumbo movie trailer. Baby mine, don't you cry. Like the soft fades in with the lights. That needs.
Or
Okay,
the
let's leave that in the teens, please.
Yeah. Or the Joker movie that just came out with. Didn't they do? What was that?
Smile?
Charlie Chaplin. Yeah, Smile. There's always like a happy song that they just slow down, add a lot of echo to it.
Everything.
Yeah.
That movie. It's like a movie about flying out into space, and it's like, twinkle, twinkle, Dad, do you think one day I'll be able to go up there? I don't know, son.
Star.
But you have to try.
And then
He decided.
The first time I ever noticed that in movies was watching Episode 4, Phantom of the Menace, because they had that duel between Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon, and there was that big choir that had that really, they were singing in different language.
That was episode 1, but okay.
What did I say?
Only episode 2.
Oh, I'm at episode
Only
1.
true fans want to say.
Well, yeah. So then they had that, and then that happened a lot. And then there was some drum thing that happened in Narnia that kind of happened a lot. And that I don't remember if that came from Lord of the Rings or something, but there was something like that happened a lot.
Yeah.
And then there was the whole
The Inception trailer,
which I think is kind of died off, but I think it's still there.
It's still clinging on tooth and nail. This summer, you will be amazed by what one man can do at trombone camp.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a little side. Okay. Christmas comedy. Slashers.
And then
What's the last one?
the third one. Dun, 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 dun. From the producers of Hallmark and the studio that brought you Nicholas Sparks comes I'll Be Home for Christmas. I have to, what are you doing leaving your job like this? You're the best you're the best lawyer in New York. I have to fly back to the small town just to close up my father's shop. I'll only be gone for a week. Well, ma'am, you're stuck in this small town now. Well, can't you get me out? I have to be back. No, I guess you're just snowed in for Christmas. She then begins wandering around the shop. It just hasn't been the same since Dad passed away. And then there's the good-looking shopkeeper who happens to run in. And at first they clash. What? You just don't get it.
Oh, you're from the big city?
Yeah, you're from the big city.
You're a big shot lawyer?
You don't understand. Hey, I grew up here.
You don't look it.
Fine. Walks away briskly. Hey, who is that guy back there? Oh, he's been through a lot. He has a complex and troubled past. Oh, I didn't realize.
Super handsome.
I guess
single,
I judged. And he has a fuzzy sweater on, too. It just looks so comfy. I could cuddle in there.
mature, but
Starring the business but sentimental lead female actress.
who's usually like brunette.
Across from Ryan Gosling, the small town diner operator who's just trying to keep his business going. But of course it's hard raising a daughter by himself. Also starring the man who may or may not be Santa. You just need to believe. Hey, Mom, he was right there a second ago. No, he was. Hey, the lights did come back on for Christmas. Hallmark Christmas movie. And there you go. Those are the 3 Christmas trailer. Those are the 3 types of Christmas movies.
Wow. Now I feel like I don't need to see any of them.
Never again. Prove me wrong.
That's why you just got to see the classics.
It's the most wonderful.
Mostly just Muppet Christmas Carol.
Muppet Christmas Carol is the bomb. And also, not Christmas, but, dude, I got to give a shout out to Muppet Treasure Island since we're on the 90s kick today.
Oh, yeah.
Such a funny, hilarious. And seeing that as a kid was just so awesome.
Yeah, that's how I learned how to be a man.
That's right. But so Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting, though? That's the only thing Scrooge doesn't get is his love. He got everything back.
Sad.
Yeah.
God bless us, everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah, interesting story. The Rudolph claymation, you gotta love that one. I want to be a dentist.
Yeah.
Hermie.
You don't realize how much of a jerk Santa is.
He's like all classist.
He's all like,
I've got to make my sleigh team tonight.
And then he's like, oh, deformed child. Get away.
But then, of course, when he realizes he can keep his market running, he's like, oh, guide my sleigh.
What a
Santa. But that took, man, can you imagine all the time where you're like building all this stuff from clay and like moving stuff frame by frame and then other people. I wonder what the planning process in that looks like. It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Do
you ever think about what that would be like?
To do a claymation movie?
No. If you were never born or if you died or whatever.
Yeah, man. That's why that movie is so fun. Because, of course, we can't, in some ways we can picture it more vividly with ourselves because we know ourselves, etc. But that's the thought experiment.
Right.
Like, hey, you don't know how Maybe you think no man is an island, right? You think,
No,
well,
they're men.
if I just disappear, everyone else will be fine. But it's like, maybe everyone else would be a lot worse if you
What
weren't here.
if you did that and then everybody else was like way better off?
He shows you. He's like, the spirit's like, come, let me show you what everyone. Hey, this can't be right. They're doing a rave party.
This world peace.
You're like peeking in the window, like, oh my gosh, and the spirit's like, not actually. This
Kim
other
Jong
house
Un
here.
is in America holding hands and they're doing some kind of dance, you know?
Kumbaya. That's awful.
Wow.
I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas with Bing Crosby.
Yeah.
It's a long one, and but it's, I mean, it's he sings I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. It's Bing Crosby.
Yeah. Isn't it weird that most of the Christmas songs that have stuck around are from that time period? Late 40s, early 50s. It was just something about that time, like White Christmas, Winter Wonderland, like all of them. Let It Snow. I mean, a lot of them were for musicals too, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, some of these I'm
Like, what are 3 modern Christmas songs that you know of? Because a lot of them, like, every artist makes a Christmas album. Half of them are traditional, like, and then they throw in some of their own stuff, but a lot of it doesn't stick, right?
of course.
So, like, what's 3 Christmas songs that you really, really like that are not technically classics? So, like 90s
Well,
and newer.
I don't want to say that I really like. Instead, let's just go with popular that gained enough traction to be considered a modern classic. So, like, for example, isn't Mary Did You Know pretty recent?
Definitely way more recent than
Right.
Yeah,
All I Want for Christmas Is You. That's a recent
that's a
one.
guilty pleasure.
And that's I once a year and I'm good. Sorry, Mariah.
She's my girl too.
She.
Well, no,
So that was, I mean, that's kind of something it rotates through the radio shuffle. I mean, that's not something that she just did and then everyone forgot about. Like, oh yeah, that was nice. All right, let's get back to, the classics, real classics.
that piano intro is actually relatively difficult to do.
That's surprising.
That
I'd have to go back
to play the same note cleanly
with consistency. Yeah.
fast is real, and you're doing chords. But I'd never played it before until I had to play it at a gig.
Because you're going on the same one, you only have so much time to lift the key.
Playing
and
the
press down
same
again.
note
Yeah.
is way harder than playing a bunch of different notes.
Right.
But I would say my top 3 that I really like a lot is
New ones, or are you just saying
new
anyone
ones.
now?
New ones is Pentatonics. They have one that's called Christmas to Me, or That's What Christmas Is to Me, or whatever it is.
Which they're actually from this area.
Are they really?
Yes, they're like from Arlington, man.
That's crazy because we have them. We have the Jonas Brothers are from South Lake.
What? The Jonas Brothers
Yeah.
are from here? See, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. We learned something new.
Who else? Like Selena Gomez, I think.
Yeah, Selena Gomez. Boy, that is weird.
We have
How
a
come-
couple country people that are pretty famous from here. But anyways, some jazz people.
Great kid.
But anyway, yeah, so I like that song a lot. I like dang. I can't even remember what it's called.
Last Christmas, I gave you my.
I do like that song.
It's a guilty pleasure.
It is a little bit.
That's another semi-recent. I mean, I think you can find a few examples from the '90s, but yeah, most of it is.
This Christmas.
tradition.
That's what I was thinking of. That.
Oh, yeah.
But
But isn't that a few decades?
well, I'm saying 90s and up.
Is
for
that
sure.
pre-90s? I have to look that one up.
No, it's not. I want to say it's like 2000s.
Really? I did not
Maybe.
know it was that recent.
Yeah.
That one's a great one.
If I'm thinking correctly.
Hang all the mistletoe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to know you better. Fireside. Oh, I forgot. Go ahead.
This Christmas.
Firesides blazing bright.
We're caroling through the night.
And this Christmas
And the horn drum
will be a very special Christmas to me. Now the only part that we know.
That's a good song, and I like playing
And
it.
a cool lick.
Yeah, Horn players get really excited when that that one's called. Yeah. Okay, so that was two. I only got two. That I
Well,
like.
yeah. I mean, if you opened it up to like just any and all Christmas songs, I'd have more to
Oh,
say.
all day, all day. Christmas music is some of the best, I think.
Yeah.
But and you find musicians that only they either really love to play Christmas music or they really hate to play Christmas music.
Usually for me, it's just like a mood because sometimes I want the all out. I want the the Nutcracker or like something like Mariah Carey was just like, yeah, hey, climb up that chimney and I mean, some huge crazy explosion fireworks show. But other times you want something, you want Nat King Cole.
Oh man,
And
his version
dude,
of
that's the thing.
Christmas song.
You can't. It's like, oh, I'm gonna and if you want to re-record it, your own take. It's like, do it for fun, do it for your family, awesome, everything. But that's the point where some of these have got. It's like, why would you re-record Nat King Cole at his Christmas song, the Christmas song? It's perfect. The arrangement.
Well, I was thinking
the
about doing a
strings.
Christmas album, but
Don't. No, everyone's wanting you to do it. Everyone
Yeah.
was when you posted that picture of you or the video with you playing with Chike. Everyone's like, "Dude, when are you gonna put out a Christmas album? That would be awesome." Jazz and
I would love
Christmas
to.
music.
yeah,
That was a match made in
this
heaven.
might be in the works.
But I like "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" because it's very
It's dark.
It is,
Originally.
but the thing is,
Remember the original lyric?
right? It may be your last.
Yeah, have yourself a merry
But,
little
okay,
Christmas. It
that's-
may be your last.
That's an important thing to think, though. It's like, and you might even be young, but it's like, hey, you don't know what accidents happen, and
yeah, they may
it-
cancel Christmas.
it's canceled. But the thing is, it's like it can be dark, but another way, it's like a good thing. It's like, no. The message is enjoy this Christmas, because if you just spend your days stressed through it and mad and irritated, it's like this might be your last one. And if you knew for sure it was, then you would enjoy it. You would reach out to people. You would make the most of it. And then what if you just live that way every year,
Right.
right? Marcus
Or
Aurelius.
treat every day like Christmas.
Buddy, the elf.
That's right.
I've been, for me, just a good Christmas song. It just depends on the mood. But I've been enjoying like Elvis's the one Elvis song I enjoy. Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Right down Santa. That
I was about
'cause
to
that
say-
arrangement is so like playful and tentative.
I thought you were gonna say Blue Christmas.
No,
and I was
no,
gonna
no.
slap that mic out of your face.
That arrangement is so fun, and it's only 2 minutes long. So like by the time you've gotten your fill, it's done. You move on. But I mean,
There's an Elvis song I did like a lot.
you ain't nothing but a hound dog.
No, it was something like
It was,
it was a ballad. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, Can't Help Falling in Love. Are you familiar with that one? Only fools. Na, 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 as I can.
yeah.
That's
a good
actually a really good one.
One of my students played that like 6 months ago,
Yeah.
and there's some cool arrangements of that. But I don't think I've heard Elvis's version of that.
Only time I've ever enjoyed any of his music, which is really weird.
That's
But he's not over the top with that type of thing that I
Dude.
hate so much.
yeah, that's a certain type of cheese.
You know what I was listening to the other day, and I just Googled it because I was like, is it as bad as I remember it being?
Oh yeah, sometimes with Christmas music, it is.
It is. Beach Boys, We Three Kings.
We
Oh
three
my
kings. If
gosh.
they'd only sped up the tempo just a notch, like we
Well,
three kings.
what
of
happened was-
Orient.
It was not that bad. I was like, okay. But then they go into the second verse or something, or maybe, and they do it minor, or something. They did something weird to it. I don't remember if they made it all minor or something, but it was just
Dude, okay, so
it was
that's
so slow, and
Yeah.
their harmony.
I can only imagine.
It sounded like they were falling asleep. Like, I can't believe someone greenlight. There was a producer that greenlighted that and was like, "Sounds good to me.
Well, he was probably eating a sandwich and talking on the phone.
These guys are so
But
good. Doesn't matter what they put out.
That-
We
that's-
just need to put it out."
That's a really good example of like being in the mood. It's like, dude, how often do you like specifically go to listen to the Beach Boys? It's like not that often. But when you want to hear Kokomo, Oh, wanna take her down to Kokomo.
Yeah. I even
We'll
looked at
get
the
there fast and then we'll take it slow.
I even looked at all the comments below, and
Everyone was
everybody
tearing
was
into it?
no,
Oh,
because
they were
only
like-
people who like it are gonna look at that
Right,
video,
right.
and they're like, "This is
Confirmation bias.
got to be one of the greatest versions of any song ever recorded ever."
Excellent.
They're like, "How has this only got 50,000 views or whatever
Right,
it was?"
right.
They're like, "How can Justin be?" And it always came back to like whatever modern pop star. How can
It
they
was-
have a Christmas album that gets 50 million
Right,
views?
right. Beyonce got
And I
nothing
was
on
like-
Beach Boys.
You know, it was
Dude,
bad. It
they-
was really bad.
So they have their
Longest touring band ever, by the way.
There's some interesting history there.
They
I'm
had
not
a
even interested in that, but
50-year anniversary of touring a couple years ago. So,
dude, they
I mean, I think there's only one left or two. But
they had that funny, weird, whimsical arrangement of Santa Claus is coming to town with like the circus theme mixed in there.
Oh, yeah.
That's that. He's making a list.
I mean,
And then-
great musicians, like vocally,
Right.
very talented.
But they also had a good Christmas song that they did that I like. It's the little Saint Nick, little Saint
yeah.
Nick. It's the little.
By the
Saint
way,
Nick.
none of them could surf.
Right, that's another thing. They're like
So you
selling
talk
an
about,
image.
yeah. So it's
Uh,
funny whenever people are like, "Oh yeah, it's so fake now." I'm like, "All right,
Right, they weren't always. Oh come
Definitely
on,
a boy band.
Let's load up in our woodies and let's go to the beach. That's not an actual song, but that's basically all their songs. So
yeah, wow,
dude. And then I mean the counterpart, the Beatles, simply having a wonderful Christmas time. That's a good one. With probably that new electro music that people were like all freaked out of, like, oh, this is so weird.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
listens to the devil's music."
That's right. But yeah, there's some good ones out there, man.
Hmm.
I'm all done with my coffee now. I'm sad.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some advice.
And remember, we still have to do some interesting etymology too.
Oh, we do? Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
because last time I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
I'll-
Well, did you forget, or I just thought we were not every single time? We got some flack for no interesting etymology.
Did we really? People
it.
actually, other than me, are interested in that.
Just one. We
Aw.
got an email.
So it was a flax singular. It wasn't flax plural
Yeah. It
from
wasn't
the Greek
flaxseed.
word.
Yeah, calling you out. This person said, "Your co-host is not doing his job." There was no interesting.
Whoa.
So apparently that's the only thing you do on this show.
Well, tell the main host to give me a raise.
All right. So this one's actually kind of serious, kind of not. I mean, it's serious, I guess, but this is from Anonymous. Dear Petty Talk, I'm a young male in my mid to early 20s, and I am losing my hair. I feel super self-conscious about it, and frankly, a little scared. What should I do? Please
For
help.
reals?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, thanks for being vulnerable and opening up. That's hard to do if you're afraid of something.
Well, they were anonymous.
We'll give him a half credit then. You know, if I was worried, it's kind of hard not having a name. I'm like, Mr. Anonymous. But I don't know if I feel like, well, my hair is kind of going away. It's getting back there. I don't know. We'll see what happens. To be continued. But if it interfered with my ability to have fun, if it interfered with my ability to connect with other people, to pursue new and interesting things, to all of the above, all these other experiences, if it interfered with those things, then I'd be worried. But it doesn't.
So, for the next episode, Alex is going to shave his head.
Dude, I might for some episode. I mean, if it keeps going back, but you can be, if you're there, fear is there because you're worried that this will keep you from something, whether it's keeping you from being confident about your looks or talking to girls or whatever it is. I mean, I don't know, but it sounds so strange to say, but that is the least of your worries. Jean-Luc Picard, when he lost his hair at a young age, he was like, I'm done. I'm not going to be. And I believe he was already kind of interested in theater, Shakespearean stuff. I don't know. I actually don't know much about him, but I do know. Remember reading this about him and being like, women aren't going to be interested in me.
By the way, he lost it when he was like 24.
Yeah, he was young.
Yeah. So,
and then he becomes, one of the most awesome figures of like sci-fi.
Yeah.
As this man of action, Jason Statham.
Well, all right. Yeah.
Wait.
Well, I might have something to say about this.
I'm the expert here. But no, I guess to wrap up my thought here, whatever you want to do, actor, pianist, scholar, business, entertainer. I mean, this will only have as much power as you give it. And I like to keep it real and be like, man, if you're saying that they're going to operate in your leg and take it off, you might not be able to compete NBA level pro. I want to keep it real. But with this, it's like, it's not going to inhibit you from doing these things. Go out and do them. Live your life, man. You get one. So decide what you want to do and make the most out of it. And don't let something like aging hold you back. We're all going to lose our hair one day. It's true.
Yeah, the fear there is super real. I remember, because, I'm follically impaired. And, look, man, sometimes the good Lord's your barber. He doesn't give you the cut that you want. And, sometimes you have to kind of finish off what he started. And I remember laying in bed when I started losing my hair, because I remember starting to lose some of my hair when I was playing at a Lutheran church a long time ago as an intern.
Oh, geez. I remember
That's
those
how
days.
long ago that was.
Dark times.
Dark times, man. I get it. I remember losing sleep over it. Staying.
Man.
Yeah, I was terrified. I was staying up in bed, and I was just like staring at the ceiling. And I was like, this is it. This is over. Because I had some very close people in my life. One was like super concerned about me working, She was like, well, if you shave your head, you may not get gigs. You may not get.
Whoa, she told you that?
Yeah.
Jeez. Not true, but ouch. And
Yeah.
again, as a young, scared person, you don't know. You're
Right.
like, oh my God, this is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I remember that, and this person's very, very close to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, And then another person told me that monks used to shave their head, the top of their head, to look really, really ugly. So
No, that's true, and for lice.
I don't know if we're helping this dude at this point.
Well,
so I remember the fear is real. So, but Alex is right. That fear. So this is what you need to do. I decided as I was losing my hair, I was probably a good 40 or 50 pounds overweight. And so I was like, am I going to just not do anything and look like every other dude that goes to the church that I go to? Or am I going to, get in shape and look like Mr. Clean? And like I could be on a...
Worry about what you have control over.
Exactly. Think about it. Jason Statham, The Rock.
Oh, The Rock.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah. He he has his own business. He can just do whatever he wants. He can ride off into the sunset and just, spend the rest of his life doing whatever he wants.
So really, it's like, and you might be like, well, women, it's like, look, dude, some women you're just not going to be for everybody. Like some women are just not into me because I don't have hair, which is fair enough. But some women I know only date dudes that have shaved heads because they look really tough and really masculine and all that stuff.
The God of War look.
But you got to lift, bro. You got to get your diet in check. You got to lose the weight. You got to pack on some muscle. I'm not saying you have to, but I think being bald kind of is kind of an extension of what you are. So if you're fat and you're bald, you look more like a loser, But if you're ripped and you're wearing maybe a white button-up dress shirt, you can look sharp.
if you accentuate your good qualities and what you have control over, they will cover a multitude of woes. And I'm not saying that that is a woe or a bad thing, but just a person is a whole package. We're not defined by a single trait, right?
Right.
So you look at Simon's life. I look at Simon's life and I'm like, dang, I need to be doing more. Killer piano player, lifting crazy weights at the gym, social skills. There are all these crazy things, so that if someone walks up and is like, haha, Simon's bald, haha, I'm like, dude, it's obvious you're not even like judging the whole person, or you don't even know, because look at all this crazy stuff you can do. And it makes up for your shortcomings.
Yeah.
And this is another interesting thing. You probably have someone in your life, an awesome person, who is bald, or who is old, or who is short, or who is fat or something, but they're so awesome you don't even notice.
Right.
This was a really interesting moment for me in my mind, because of course you can have the bitter complaining person all the time, and you just notice me like, oh well, he's bald or whatever. But then you have the older mentor who's just laughing, who makes you feel good, or someone who's lifting weights and taking care of business. And that's kind of like a secondary or last thing you notice. I used to work in this warehouse for Uncle Sam. Oh my gosh, those were dark days too. We had Irma, the like this sweet Mexican lady, this mother who was working for her kids, support her kids. And we also had this guy who I'll call Jim. And Jim was not a good person, and I'll just leave it at that. And he was very short. I mean, very short. And so people would make jokes behind his back, whatever, because he was just not a good person. But they would make jokes about how, that little troll, and he's just miming people, and it was just something that immediately a flaw. It's not a flaw to be short, but something that you would think of as a shortcoming. It was magnified because of his rudeness. And then one day, Irma says to me, can you get that for me? Because I'm short. And I look over, I'm like, dude, she is short. And she was just as short as Jim.
Wow.
But I never once noticed. Now, some people, that might be the first thing they notice. Everyone's brain works differently. But the first thing I noticed about Irma was her smile. We get to a warehouse, and we have to sort stuff for like 8 hours. She'd be smiling. She'd be working hard. You'd ask her about things, and she'd talk to you. She would help you out with things. It was kind of like the last thing you noticed, her being short. Or it was kind of like if someone pointed out, it's like, oh yeah, she is, but there's just so many other things to notice and talk about. It's just like,
yeah,
who cares? Like, on the opposite end of the spectrum, George Washington was like freaking huge. He was like 6'5", maybe 6'4".
1700s.
So he was like basically a giant.
Yeah.
He was this huge dude. But how many people notice that about him? I mean, historians do, etc. But how many people know that on the streets? It's more about the complete package, his legacy, what he did, the words he wrote.
And I don't think being bald is a
bad
negative thing at all.
No.
I look way better in my photos now, I think. The rain feels amazing. You don't have to buy shampoo. I mean, there's a lot. You can roll right out of bed. No one knows.
See, I'm ready. Wherever you are, Anonymous, I'll probably be joining you in a few years.
Just start lifting weights.
The stuff you have control over.
Like, nowadays people just assume that you're like some bad cage fighter, And so there's some confidence that I have now. Like, I should have done it years ago, but I also kind of wanted to be in good shape too. But, it's just and the first, I'd say 2 weeks, people are going to be in shock that you shave your head. But then after that,
everyone's attention span is so short.
I remember there was this lady, like everyone was like, whoa, because I didn't tell anybody I was going to do it. As a matter of fact, the week before, we took photos for the church directory, and I had this long curly hair. And then the next week I shaved it off.
For the church directory.
I'm sure there was some really old people with bad vision that just thought that they got a new pianist, they like fired that kid. By the way, I had long hair and I looked like I was 16, and then I shaved it off and I looked like I was 35. So I've never looked like I was in my 20s. But I specifically remember, like, most people were pretty supportive about it, but I remember there was a few people who weren't. And there was one lady in particular,
Everyone's gonna have an opinion.
she was, to be nice, 90 pounds overweight,
Oh,
to be nice.
right.
And she was just like, why? She literally said it like that, like she was about to tear up. And I was like, I'm sorry? Like, I didn't know she was talking about my haircut.
You thought she just found out Luke was related to Darth Vader, like some big plot point. Why?
And she was like, I was like, I'm sorry? Why what? And she was like, why would you choose to look like that?
Oh, golly.
To somebody. She was saying that. Someone, not to be disrespectful to her, but it was just
everyone
like,
has their own struggles they're
was
going through, etc.
at least 120 pounds overweight.
Well, she's getting bigger. It was
had
90 last time.
Well, yeah. And it was just funny that she was talking about why would you choose to look like that when her appearance was compromised, so to speak. So you just have to own it, man. You know, put your life together to where you can feel confident about those other areas in your life. And then just, dude, first shave's free. I'll give you the first one if you want.
Yeah, if you're local.
Yeah.
Come on down. You'd help him out, wouldn't
I would.
you?
I'll show you the tricks of the trade.
And it's telling if someone comes up to you going, why? Find people in your life who are going to not care about superficial stuff. This might be an awesome weeding out opportunity for you. Find people who aren't going to care about, maybe they're surprised, like, oh, wow.
And by the way, I got approached more by women after that. And gay guys.
Wow. And with more women and gay guys. There you go. Head your way.
So whatever your flavor is.
Find people who will support you, and they're not to minimize what you're going through, but there's so much to be thankful for. And you can be like, man, I lost a genetic I lost a genetic lottery. No. It's an extreme example, but it's true. There are kids who live till like they're 8 years old, and that's it, because they have bone marrow cancer, or they have some sort of really weird rare genetic disease. That's losing the genetic lottery. And we get so upset or mad if our Starbucks is, well, it took them 4 minutes to make my Starbucks drink. There are, and again, not to minimize what you're going through, because it's real. Just because it's easy for someone else, they're like, oh, well, they shouldn't worry about that. Doesn't mean that individual isn't experiencing some like really tough and intense feelings. But there's so much to be thankful for. Find out what you want to do some things to better yourself, and then go do it. Whatever you want to do. This isn't going to stop you.
Look tough. People start respecting you more.
But this perfectly ties in to our interesting etymology. And I didn't even know that this was going to be a question.
Good luck.
So,
but it's not about luck. Make your life.
That's right. Don't find yourself, forge yourself.
Oh, man.
All right. So you were not so this struggle, Anonymous, is not new. You were not alone. Hundreds of years ago, I guess early 1600s, there was Louis XIII, King of all France. He's got the world on a string. He starts going bald in his mid-20s. And he panics.
Wasn't it because of a disease?
Maybe. Maybe. He might have had syphilis. Yes. There's some debate as to whether or not basically it took him a long time to conceive the heir. Maybe like 10 to 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
The hair?
And he had lots of male court friends. Huh? The hair?
Took a
long time to grow the hair to the throne? Okay, well, anyway, so he's going bald. He wants a remedy. He orders himself a hairpiece to wear, and this is going to kick off the whole...
Another option. No, don't do that, please.
But this is going to kick off the whole people wearing hairpieces. The judges you see in the movies with the big white hairpieces, founding fathers. It's going to go out of... by the time you get to the late 1700s and then early 1800s, it's going to kind of be on its way out. But people start wearing hairpieces. Hair is expensive. because you can't just grow it in the field. You got to find a donor, right?
Oh yeah.
So if you're poor, I can't afford that, that much of a thick one.
And if you see
It's gonna be
somebody
sparse.
else with a hair piece, and theirs is better than yours, you're like, wait a minute, I got to upgrade.
Yeah. So it becomes this almost like this contest,
Competition.
right? And of course, if you're rich, you can afford this huge, long, flowing one, and it's soft and it's scented, and it's I'm sure it looked amazing and nice. They knew how to make aesthetically pleasing things. Look at the Palace of Versailles. Kind of a weird comparison, but that era, people were running around with wigs. So you're right. You're poor, and then you see some guy walk in. He does the double doors. X gonna give it to you, playing in the background as he struts in slow motion. But it's on the harpsichord, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, anyway, you see his long, flowing hairpiece, and you're like, "Whoa, this guy is loaded," because he can afford that. He can just throw his money away, right? And that is why, hundreds of years later, when you see
I
someone
actually know this one.
who's rich, you say, "Whoa, look at those
Big wigs.
big wigs."
That's
That's
right.
where the phrase comes from. The big wigs are coming to town.
Yeah, and the richer you were, the more like extravagant the hairpiece could be, and it got ridiculous at a point.
It did. I mean,
They
yeah.
started putting bows
Well,
in it.
because
I think a bird's nest actually
Right.
was in it
I
at one
mean-
point. I think like a raccoon could, house some chitlins.
400 years from now, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, plastic surgery, and only the rich could afford it." And then it got more and more ridiculous, and the Kardashians' butts were getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So it's what's old is new again. It's that vice versa.
But it's kind of like reminds me of the animal stuff where the biggest birds will
plumage,
what
plumage.
plumage?
Yes, like a plume of something. That's their plumage.
No, I don't know what that means at all.
It's yeah, like when peacocks lift their feathers up,
thought that was just peacocking.
Those are plumes. Yeah, but that's the actual feathers, and the way like the males puffing their stuff out, and that's like their display. That's the plumage, like a plume.
No, what's the plume? Are you talking the feathers are plumes?
Yeah,
are
like-
called plumes, or what they're doing is called pluming?
I think it's a noun, so I don't think it's not an action. It's like the actual feathers on the bird that they're using, that they're puffing up and displaying. That's the plumage. Don't blame me.
I just-
blame the English language.
This speaking of English language, this was something I was thinking about.
Wait, before
No,
you
okay.
interject, I have to say I'm proud. This is our first etymology where you've guessed it,
Well,
and I want to do
not that
variety.
obviously I'm not an expert on hair.
Right, but you did it. Score 1 for Team Petty.
The bald guy got the big wig one. I like that. So I was thinking about words the other day, about how
Ooh,
no, the struggle's real. So for me, it's really like it was a profound moment. No, I was thinking about all the words that we say that we don't know what they really mean, or at least maybe it's just me.
dude, we're just making sounds at each other at the end of the day. I mean, they have meaning, but someone had to
Well, I didn't
invent
know-
those words.
so Alex-
Blah, 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 blah.
Alex and my mom both have, I think, a very impressive vocabulary as far as how much words they have. I mean, as far as the
No.
people I know, I mean, granted, I'm around a bunch of jujitsu and musician guys, so I'm not like, Alex knows actual scholars and stuff like that, but, like, whatever. But for me, I mean, it blows my mind. I didn't know what plumage was. Also, I was thinking about the word spangled.
Spangled.
How many times have I said Star Spangled Banner and not known what that meant? Do you know what spangled means? If you had to guess? Or do you know?
I
Or are you guessing?
assume
from
I'm
context
just
clues?
guessing from context. I'm assuming like maybe dotted.
Yeah, like scattered about. And like,
Yeah, sure. Just
Isn't
from
that weird,
context.
though? I've never, until maybe a year ago, stopped to think about what that word meant. How many words do we say and we don't know? Like Yuletide. I don't know what Yuletide means.
Dude, this is an excellent way to get smarter, and it takes a lot of time. But if every time you look up a word when you don't know what it is, that's instant boost in IQ, undoubtedly. And I mean, you can't stop in the middle of the day, like if you're working, whatever. But
Yeah.
make a list or whatever. That's a good that you're doing that. That's a good
I feel like
exercise.
I'm learning. I feel like I'm opening up to the world. Like, what's the distance one? Furlongs?
Furlong?
Or something. I don't know. But one of my friends bets horse racing.
Furloins.
I don't know, man. I knew the truth could come out and how, I had to become a musician. There was no other option. Yeah. Are you having problems staying up?
I'm having some trouble here. My microphone keeps dipping.
Well, they have things for that, but you can just twist that.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's give it a little twist.
So that's an eighth of a mile. And I didn't know that until one of my horse racing buddies.
I didn't know that either.
But yeah, there's all sorts of words that I just say, because I know there's a Yuletide log, but I don't remember what Yuletide, or Old Lang Syne,
The good old days. Yeah, that's great. Those are good questions to ask. And I mean, there's always an order of importance. It's like, well, maybe I should be working on practicing for my next gig or whatever. But sometimes you need to go down the rabbit trails, and and a word might lead you to an idea, which leads you to a project.
Dude, I'm on a roll.
Dude,
so I looked up what turning a new leaf is.
Go ahead.
So
Enlighten
what
me.
do you think what
Turning
I
a
thought?
new
Yeah,
leaf?
what do you think? Where did that come from?
Oh, I'm gonna guess. I don't know for sure, but I'll bet you it's the only thing I can think of, because like no ritual or holidays coming to mind. The only thing I can think of is like a page in a book.
Oh gosh, really?
Yeah. Because it's like, gold leaf, or like the a manual.
I thought as a tree,
Like
it was like a new season of
see, yeah.
leaves growing, and then or you were like going from red to white, green to red leaves or something like that. Man, I'm dumb.
No, they have a word for fake etymologies. I can't remember what it is right now, but they have a word for etymologies that someone posits in the 1700s, say, but then so you think that's the origin, like, oh, trees putting out, but then you do research and you trace it back to like the 900s, the Germanic or whatever, and you're like, oh no, this actually refers to pages in the book or whatever. So you're just experiencing the same struggles humans have for centuries and centuries.
But I have a degree.
Well, that's just that's like that's the start of a journey. It's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu. It's like, okay, now you know the techniques. It's like you're not done.
Right.
Okay, now you're competent enough to know the techniques. So now you can play, you can experiment, you can find your own style. It's like, dude, and again, some people might stop at certain places. So a degree is an awesome accomplishment, or a black belt, or whatever it is. But it's like, if you want to keep going with that E flat scale, it's like, okay, how many years do you have?
For 23 years, I'm still learning stuff.
Yeah, man,
It's crazy.
I'm still learning. It's the same thing with me too. I ran into a word. I'm trying to remember, but it was today, and it's a new word I learned. I think it's like erzat, like ERHZAT. I'll have to look that up, but it's like a substitute. It's like not the real thing. It means like it's like an inferior good, like erzat. I think it's a German. I'll have to look that up again. Sorry, Google it. Learn something new.
But
it's a continual journey.
Yeah, I told one of my students what a cornucopia is.
Good.
Yeah.
I love tying in the time periods when we look at a certain piece, like going back to like, hey, do you know this word, or do you know this idea, or what instrument this was played on, and like opening up that new avenue. And some, they're just going to shrug and like, oh, okay, cool, and they go back to the technique. But others are like, they think about it, they bring it up again, and it, like I said, a word can lead you to an idea, which can lead you to a life forever changed. Some of the products I've been putting out, like the Swordswoman playing cards, that literally was just me pursuing, one person's biography. And then, oh, here's this other person who's mentioned. Oh, here's this other person in China. Oh, here's this duel that was fought. And now it's like this huge thing. It had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shares and likes and stuff on Facebook, and people were just buying it and loving it, and like all the portraits were these stories. And it literally was just me deciding to explore one afternoon. however many years back.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting, man. I don't know. That's good. All right, let's wrap this up.
With what?
I think it just stopped.
I'm hopeful assignment. Someone didn't have their laptops prepared.
No, it just stopped recording. I think we might have to use the audio from the phone at this point.
No.
I don't
When?
know if it
When did
got-
it stop?
Pretty recent.
Okay, good. Sorry, team. Time to say goodbye. Well, wherever you are, whoever you are, I hope you're having a good holiday season. Enjoy the seasonal things. Drink those hot drinks. I don't know. Spend some time with family. Find the rituals that you like. And enjoy it. Because it could be, you never know, it could be your last Christmas, or it could be just the last Christmas that's the same as what you're used to, and then there'll never be another Christmas like that. People won't be gathered the same way or whatever it is, so enjoy now. That's why I like that song, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. There's no big promises of grandeur. It's just like, hey, it's little, but make it merry. Enjoy life.
Yeah, but this will not be the last episode.
Oh, really? We're doing one more before Christmas?
No, I'm just saying in general.
Oh, okay. Well, we're not signing out forever.
Right. All right. This has been fun.
It has.
All right. See y'all next time.
See ya.